Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode of 254 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Miss Theodora Daniela Capăt. She's a painter and traditional artist, and also an instructor at Sara Academy, which we will talk about in the podcast as well, based in Vaxholm, Sweden. And fun fact about Vaxholm, there's a certain really interesting castle on a river in Vaxholm, which actually she's in right now. Her city is in there, which is kind of really badass and awesome, to be honest. And And of course, before we get into the questions of the podcast, let me quickly mention, as always, that in the for contact section of the captions, you can find the ID to her Instagram account, the links to her Linktree, website, and print store. So with all of that out of the way, I also need to finally mention that this is literally the first official episode of Kouryer podcast that I'm recording with Google Meet. So if you're sensing or seeing or recognizing a change in the style or format, it's because of that. But right now, at the same time, I'm also trying to find a better way to record podcasts better. So for now, we'll go with Google Meet and Skype. So with that out of the way, how are we doing today? Cold.
Yes.
Couldn't say it better. Like, actually, there was a huge storm yesterday in Istanbul, and a lightning hit a building and it lighted on fire. Yeah, crazy stuff happening here.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's on fire. Here's just freezing and cold. So I think it's better to be cold than burning.
Yeah, exactly. And I nearly lost my two phones yesterday because I was walking on a sidewalk and my two phones were in my right pocket in my jeans. And I was on sidewalk and a truck with full speed just near the sidewalk passed and splashed all the water on me. And the funny enough, I was actually going to buy shoe shopping for winter. And it literally made me soak in water. And I quickly got out my phones and put it in my pocket and my jacket. And yeah, that was kind of scary, to be honest. I nearly lost my phones.
I always thought that in Turkey it never rains, but apparently I was wrong.
Oh, trust me, it rains. When it rains, it pours, you know?
Oof. I mean, I'm from Romania and we have extreme summers lately, a lot of droughts. So I kind of miss a good rain in Romania. I mean, I'm living in Sweden, so I don't know how things are right now in Romania. So anyways.
All right. So, well, for now, we can start with the signature question of the podcast, which is, give us a little introduction on how we got into the world of visual arts and design. Basically, tell us your origin story of, how you decided to pursue art and become an artist as your full-time career.
I knew that I always enjoyed drawing, and I remember my mom drawing horses on the wall with me, because I love horses, apparently. I'm a woman. And I kept drawing and doodling. And, okay, I will try to really remember the story. My parents went to Greece, and they bought these two beautiful sculptures from Greece with horses. I think I was maybe, 8 or 9, and I painted them in tempera, and I showed them to my neighbor. And the next day she brought to me a picture of Alexander the Great, very tiny little picture, a graphite pen, an eraser, a sharpening tool, and some paper. And she just gave it to me and said, draw this. And I was like, okay. It was the longest 2 hours of my life, because I don't know why it took me 2 hours. And I just got hooked after that. So yeah, I started pretty early. I was 9 and 10 and I just drew a lot, but randomly. And then in Romania, I think I was 12 years old and I found this magazine called Great Painters. And the first painters that I bought was Tintoretto, Giorgione, Titian, the pre-Renaissance painters. And then I got even more hooked. But, since I'm from Eastern Europe, I got onto this forum in Romania and I was just sharing my artwork because, I thought that maybe I can get some critiques. And I got the most awful critiques ever. They were telling me that I need to stop copying and just draw from imagination. And I didn't even know how to even think about drawing from imagination. So I got depressed and I stopped drawing for a while because I took that critique so to heart. They were telling me that I'm just one of those American kitsch artists that's wasting her time copying photos. Whatever. So my advice, don't listen to haters, dudes. Just draw and have fun and find the right people that will advise you. Don't listen to jealous pricks online. They're not worth your time. And then I moved to Sweden when I was 19 and a half. And I found the Swedish Academy of Realist Art. They were located in Stockholm and they were called Atelier Stockholm. And I did 3 years education and I continued with them because I just love teaching. And I learned so much through teaching. And how many years later? 10 years later, and here I am, still drawing. Yeah, so it's been a while. How much more should I talk about my adventure?
As much as you want. There's no limitations. As much as you want.
I can just tell you that everybody starts somewhere. We're all the novice, or how you say it in English. So don't think that I was some kind of genius. No, I wasn't. I was just a random person like everyone else that starts with something in life. And then it's all about learning and pursuing the so-called truth that you want.
Yeah, honestly, like one thing that I've really noticed in not just art, in just any field, like a lot of the like those people that get a lot of accolades, they get a lot of praise, they're really successful in their fields. People usually, especially like beginners, look up to them and think, oh my God, they must have done something amazingly special. But the truth is, one day they just thought, that would be cool if I pursue that. And they didn't think about any limitations. They didn't think about anything else. And after a couple of years, they really became great at their fields. I mean, that's about it. That's how a lot of people start, They don't really let other people's, words get to them or discourage them because they're just doing what they love. That's it. It's very
nobody's born a genius. Everybody's born with what's the word for it? Not desire, but something that a quality that interests you, an interest basically. But I was talking with a friend a lot about the idea of a genius, and I'm starting to think that this thing is praised too much. Like we're looking at the artist when they're at their prime, and then you tell yourself, I will never be able to do what this artist does. And then let's say that they're referring to me and I'm like, do you want me to show you my first drawings that I did and how bad they were when I started working? It was pretty bad, I can tell you that. But there's a lot of work, and we live in a society where instant gratification is a thing. And as a teacher, I can tell you that my students are so impatient with becoming gods. And I keep telling them, you're gonna become a god when you're dead. Until then, you will keep learning. The end.
That's actually such a great advice. If you think about it.
It's the truth. It's with everything. Yeah, it's
exactly. And for me, when I was a kid, like whenever I really got good at something, I don't know, I had this innate thing in me that, like, all right, let's say like this. Like I remember one time when I was 12 or 13, our math teacher gave us a homework to, I don't know how to say it how to say the name of it in English, but basically in math, there's prime numbers, the numbers that are only divisible by 1 and themselves, like 7, 17, 3, 2, numbers like that, And basically, the guy gave us an assignment to find all the prime numbers from 0 to 1,000. And if anyone does that, I will give you like 2 points to your midterms. And I remember I did that till 4,000. And the only reason that kept me going with that, because it was so exciting and fun, this feeling of having a mountain for yourself to climb, a peak. And you just keep going and going and going, and you can see your progress. If anyone can make any goal measurable like that, I think it will be much easier to accomplish it and self-motivate yourself. Like the thing with the podcast, like I started as a fun thing for myself. I was like, I like podcasts. I want to do this art thing. I know other people do it as well. And it started in 2020, right? I know, such a cliche story. In the pandemic, I started this. I know, it's so boring story. But I did like the first 17, 18 episodes, and I was like, interesting. Wouldn't it be fun to reach 100? Like, that was it. And I kept going and I kept going. And the closer I got to 100, the more exciting it made me go, the more thirsty it made me go. And I was like, oh, that's so fun. And I finally reached 100. And the only reason is that because the whole process, like looking, it was like my progress was measurable and visible, it was literally numbers. Episode number 67, episode number 68. And I think you can apply this mindset in art very well. And like, for example, all right, you want to be really good at portraits. All right, do 100, portraits in this angle, do 100 portraits in this angle. I don't know, kind of like that. And you can already make that measurable. I think if people put that mindset to use, I think they would really see much more progress than that. And I've been doing that in 3D myself as well. And it's really self-motivating in a way,
I mean, it's interesting what you said, because it's pretty much what we talked about before we started the podcast. Everybody wants the end result. We all have a goal, the so-called meaning. Okay, you reach it. Then what? You've reached your goal. Then what? Oh, I want to do this. I want to be able to do something like this. You reach that. Then what? You kind of start getting bored with the goal. So pretty much what you said and what I said before the podcast, it's not the end goal that's important, it's the journey towards the end goal. The process of creating, if we want to talk about it as an artist, or whatever. It can be, you can be into programming, painting, music, a journey from, one point from one country to the other. It's the journey that makes the end goal interesting. And after that, on to the next one. So for example, as a teacher, I've noticed my students being so focused on the end result that they're not having, I can't even say fun. They're not going through the process. So the process is starting to depress them, make them anxious, give up. And then I tell them, you are not Zen. You're not enjoying it. You're not learning. You just want the goal. This is not a product that you buy, that you just put the money down and here you have it. That's going to be your future client if that's the case. They will want to buy your product. It's a different story. You are the creator. Anyways, that reminds me about your numbers. It's the same concept. It's the journey towards the goal. So this is something that I want to tell for young artists or whoever starts in life. Don't focus too much on the goal. It's good to have an idea of what you want from it so you know what you need to learn to be able to get to the goal. But try to be in the now and enjoy the process of learning. That's going to be so much more meaningful than wanting to end up with it instantly. What's the point? It's the same idea with all of this, sorry for bringing it up, with all of this AI stuff that's happening right now. Everything is instant. Why are we so depressed? We can't sit down for 1 minute in complete isolation and just think for a while. We have to grab our mobile and keep giving us that stupid dopamine that doesn't give us anything. It's just an instant thing to feed that energy. And it's not making you happy, presumably, because I don't know you. It might make you miserable. It's the journey, man. Try to be Zen. Don't get too happy nor too sad. Just try to keep a middle line and you will do way more than if you always try to look for that happiness. Happiness is a moment thing. It's not a way of life, my opinion.
Yeah, those are actually great points. And for me, actually, after I reached, funny that you mentioned, after I reached episode 100, I was like, all right, my next goal is episode 1000. And actually is. And that is a goal that's going to keep me occupied for the next till I'm 40, 41. I actually calculated that if I'm going to make 50, this year, I was actually really lazy. I only did this is actually the 54th episode I do this year. Mm-hmm. So if I on average do 50 episodes per year, by 41, I reach episode 1000. I'm 26 now. So that's, a good big goal that's kind of part of my lifestyle at this point. And one thing that I want to mention as well, let me tell you a quick story about a game called Valheim. I don't know, do you play games or not? Video games? I guess no.
I play that game, man. The
really?
Swamp. God damn,
really?
Swamp. I haven't reached the winter part yet. I've been so freaking busy. My friends keeps asking me, Theo, when are we going to play Valheim? Good memories in that game, man. It's so good.
God, you just surprised me so much right now because I thought you were going to say, no, I don't play video games. I don't like Instagram.
Dude, I'm a nerd. I've been playing World of Warcraft since I was, 15, 16 when I got the internet. I was a veteran, vanilla. Yeah. But now, okay, going back to your story, because we're sidetracking again.
So that's really great that because you actually know Valheim. So I'm going to suggest something you should definitely do with your friends or buddies. We, like before this, I haven't played with my friends after the new, like the last year updates that they added a new boss or something, the regions, mistlands, all that. We didn't play any of those, but we completely discovered and explored everything that was, in the game before that patch. So we killed all the bosses, got all the greatest loots, tamed our oxes, and I named mine Appa because it looks like Appa from like Avatar. And we did everything. And then this weird feeling set in. There's nothing else to do. We're OP now. So what's the fun? Then I was like, and here's what happened. I remembered I had a portal to like one of those huge mountain areas. It was the tallest place. And I was like, it would be fun to just make a boat there and try to slide down there. So we did it, and the result was very catastrophic and funny. I would just crash around, and we just rolled around till we get to and it took about like 20 seconds for us to crash from the top of it till now. It was that big, that mountain. And here's what happened next. I made an outpost on the top of the mountain. I transformed that, and we built with wood. We made wooden platforms and slides, and we built a huge actual ship on top of it. And we built like, brakes in front of it. So when we deconstruct the brakes, the ship would just crash down, and we all took our seats. And we kept doing that for like a couple of weeks. Then we got bored, and we made a troll museum. We actually put a troll dug a hole, put the troll as a prisoner. And we put troll head trophies all around it for psychological torture. So basically what I'm trying to say is you make your meaning of what you want to do with the game. And that game can be life now. I know that sounds a bit weird that I'm trying to make it philosophical, but it is. Like in life, you have everything.
About wanting to have your own little homestead?
Homestead, yes.
There you go. So yeah, you have a bit of that character. That's one reason I like Valheim or this kind of games where you have to explore. It's the so-called freedom of just being you and having all of this journey in front of you. Because right now, where am I? Google Maps. Oh, there you go. So I don't know if you had this experience in Romania, for example. We were going to the mountains, and my father, he's very crazy, to be honest. And we didn't have Google Maps. And this is how you do it in Romania. You had to take down the window. You remember when you had to do this to take down the window? Excuse me, I'm looking for this street and this street. And then you have the other person. You go straight, then take a right. And then you can ask someone over there. They might guide you to go that place. That was so much more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway. So I can imagine the Valheim experience. Oh, I need to play that game again.
And you know what we used to do as well at the time? We used to harpoon each other, like both of us. We would, like enable like friendly fire, and we could use harpoons on each other. So if one friend, got into the sea and was running out of stamina, and there was a sea king or kraken trying to attack us, someone would harpoon the guy, and the other guy would just ride the boat away and would drag the guy out of there. And we used to do that.
You can harpoon yourself too,
and you can harpoon your friends as well.
Don't you need to be in a PvP mode or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you do that, of course, if your friend's not gonna troll you and kill you in the middle of the sea, and you can trust your friend, you can do that. We remember we actually one time harpooned the troll, and we kept and released it in the middle of the ocean. Because the trolls really screwed. The trolls screwed with us so much early game. We had to take revenge.
Yeah.
It was justified. And I think, your camera kind of, I think.
Well, I'm going to be blurred. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, for anyone who's watching on YouTube, you can see our difficulty trying to adjust to the Google Meet settings. Oh my God, what is wrong with the webcam? Wait. Hello. All right, we're back again.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, as I was saying, like if we compare Valheim to life, let's say right now we instantly get everything in life, like all the money, everything. Sure, you definitely want to do a lot of things you always wanted to do on your checklist. You travel to a lot of places, buy a lot of things. Maybe, let's say you even done all those things. What then? If you're the type of person who can't really, give meaning to your existence or life, you're going to have a lot of problems down the line. And I think art is one of the best ways to kind of, give meaning to your existence, because it's literally a form of expression. And in a sense, art can be whatever you want it to be, And for me, basically, like I had a dream once when I was 18 that the shortest version of the dream was, it was actually one of the worst nightmares I ever had. I was dreaming that I was being abducted by aliens from my room.
What's with you and your vivid dreams, man?
Yeah, I know. Like, another story, but I literally screamed so hard in my cup, and the biggest thought that was going through my head, because the dream felt so real, was I haven't expressed myself enough. I don't want to die right now. That was my whole thing. I don't want to go right now. I haven't expressed myself enough. And actually, the funny thing is, I saw someone else the other day on Twitter say the same thing. They were having a nightmare, and they thought, I haven't drawn enough or something like that, but expressed myself enough. And I think expression is a really vital part of like human existence, if you really think about it. And for me, like, that's one of the things that really keep me going. Like, even though, like, like, let's say, even if we're in, like, caveman times, I would still be that, caveman that would draw, like, things on the line, or collect rocks or something. I don't know. Or make, like, monuments like that. It's just, you literally can make meaning for your existence for a certain period of time. It could be your whole life. It could be, I don't know, a certain period of time. It depends on the personality and everyone's. And the funny thing is, I know this is all sounding a bit too cliche and just sappy and weird, but what I'm trying to say, everyone has a weird, unique thing about them. And if they try to find that and express that fully, that's, in my opinion, where magic happens, And if you take that to art, that's where, people really find their style and, their pace. And sometimes you get really cool stuff,
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, sure, you know what they say, why reinvent the wheel? I truly think that when it comes to art, we have lost a lot of knowledge, after modernism and all of that stuff. For example, the school I work at is a private school. You have to pay a lot of money to do it, even though I believe that education should be for free. But the government, for example, in Sweden, they have something called Konstfack. I applied to them, and thank God I got rejected. It's not enough to just go like, oh, you want to express something, just go and do it. There has to be a certain guidance to how to express this. It's not enough to just go with the flow, because otherwise you're just reinventing the wheel again. So as a teacher, I think there has to be a certain structure to be able to teach the student to learn how to express those emotions through, let's say, this complex visual language of all things. You have a white paper in front of you. Draw something. Okay, how am I supposed to start? Well, just draw a shape. Oh, but what do you mean by a shape? There's so many shapes in front of me. Everything is a shape. Well, let's start from the bigger shape. What's your subject? Oh, it's a pear. Let's look at the generals. It's pretty similar to 3D. You don't start with the details. You start with the big masses, and then you start carving it, and then you get this pear, for example. So right now, I think it's very dangerous to just tell people to go for it. You need to guide them, mentor them to know where to start. Basic education. And I think that we're lacking this. There's something going on right now in the educational system that we've become too tolerant. There's no real authority when it comes to the way the teacher having to deal with the students. We're seeing this in schools nowadays. It feels like students have hard times learning. It's something going on. I've noticed it even with normal schools. So for example, when I teach, I don't care if I make the student uncomfortable. I have to tell them the truth. That is wrong. Yeah, but I can't repaint it. It took me 4 days. I don't care that it took you 4 days. It will take you maybe 5 more days. But if that's the point of you actually making it better and learning from it, we're going to do that. Again, going back to this instant gratification thing, everybody's afraid of doing mistakes, but I think those mistakes are the best teachers you will ever have. So sure, yeah, go and express yourself, but how should a person express themselves? Don't put a banana taped to the wall. A banana taped on the wall, that's not really telling me anything. It's just you trying to shock the world so you can get a bit of notification from the great big brother. So whatever. So what is this something you were asking me about? Where to go from this point, like learning about art, or?
Yeah, there's so many points we can bounce off each other and just talk about it, and this is actually one of it. But like for me, like actually let me tell you like a quick story again. One good thing about being bullied all the time when you were a kid, it depends. You can either get a lot of trauma, or you can actually adopt a mindset to just do whatever you want and not care anymore, because in the end of the day you're going to get bullied anyway. And that happened to me actually really bad, but it was a really good thing in my opinion, because it put me in this mindset that I'll just try whatever I like and I'm going to get bullied for it, and it doesn't matter. So basically my ego got shattered from an early age, right? And it led me, when I got a bit older, like in a couple of years ago, where I really I liked chess when I was a kid, but then I rediscovered my passion in 2021, around the time that got really popular again. And I started really playing it, and I had this attitude that I really didn't care about losing. Like even if I lost 100 times, like back to back, I still enjoyed the game. I love the process. I love learning a new thing every single game. And like I remember I even applied to just some Twitch tournaments from like big streamers, and I lost a lot of them, and I remember some of them made even fun of me on stream. But I still didn't care. I love the whole process. I love the chess. And to me, I think that sort of mindset should be applied to anything you want to learn. Like you shouldn't really care about if you're obviously going to get gonna suck at it, because it's going to be your first early beginner stages. But if you stick with it and you can see yourself in the future that you become like so OP in it and, great at it, that's what's going to keep you going. Because huge successes, I know, as cliche as it sounds, it's built upon like layers and layers and layers of failures. That's basically it. And that also happened in chess for me, as I mentioned. And another thing that I also noticed is whenever I would ask someone to come play chess, because I used to put stories on my Instagram about chess, and a lot of people would just say, oh yeah, I used to play chess when I was a kid. And I was like, oh cool, want to play? And they were like, no, I haven't practiced a lot. And
I always sacrifice the queen. If I can get your queen, I will do it.
Awesome. Yeah. That's actually called Botez Gambit. I don't know if you know the memes in the chess or whatever.
The first time I played chess, maybe I was 5 years old, because my uncle, my dad's brother, he was into chess. So that's when I started. My brother always beat me because I didn't know how to protect my king. All the time started with the wrong piece. But yeah, if you ever play against me, if I have a chance to take your queen and you will take mine afterwards, I will do it. So be careful how you play.
All right. Awesome. I'll definitely keep
We don't like women, Get rid of the women. They're crazy. No, I'm just joking.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I have a question. What do you mean by bullying? Because you're just talking in a metaphor way?
No, literally. Like, yeah, I used to get bullied for a lot of things.
I mean, Romania, that's another topic. Bullying creates character. So I think bullying can be quite healthy I don't know how to put it in words, but if you get bullied, yes, sometimes how do you put it in words so I don't offend people?
Two things will happen. Listen, two things will happen when you get bullied. You can either get crushed or accept the fact that you're getting bullied and try to adapt.
Yeah.
Like make a protective bubble for yourself, so you can protect yourself from just any outside external things.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say with this whole story is that, a lot of people would say no to playing chess because their ego would get in the way, and the only reason their ego would get in the way because they didn't love chess. Because if they loved chess, they would play whether they would lose or win. But here's the thing: if I told them let's play backgammon, they would have instantly said yes, because luck is involved. And if they lose, their ego is protected. I just have bad luck, man. But if it's chess,
I remember playing with my boyfriend. What the hell we were playing? Like some game cards or something like that. Dude, I was such a sore loser. I was really bad. I hated winning, and he pointed that to me, and I got so offended. My ego was like, how dare he tell me that I'm acting this way? I'm not. My God, the ego is such a strong a very strong thing. I can tell you that.
No worries.
It
I'm not
takes-
sponsored by anything. You can say whatever you want.
Well, I don't know, but it takes guts to destroy your ego. And I had a strong, I mean, I'm from Eastern Europe, and for some reason, Eastern Europeans, we have such a pessimistic, strong ego, selfish way of being. I don't know why. It's something with us Eastern Europeans. Maybe communism fucked us over too much. So when I moved to Sweden, the first thing I told myself, this is one reason I'm bringing it up. Why is Sweden so much better than Romania, for example? Much cleaner, everybody's happier, whatever, in my mind. But yes, I was very envious, for example, and I was a sore loser. And it took a long time to be able to grow out of it, because what happened is that I got bullied back. I was pointed to this, like, oh, you don't want to play because if you lose, you'll feel bad about it. So sometimes if your friends tells you, like, I don't want to play chess because I'm not really in the mood, then just tell them, are you afraid because you're going to lose? You might win. We might just have fun. Just loosen up the mood a bit. Make them feel less shitty if they play and lose. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Nobody cares. It's just a game between us. Or maybe you like to brag afterwards. I don't know. Because that's what I did when I was winning. Oh my God, I won. I'm so much better. Oh my God, I was such an asshole. Good times.
Yeah, and a lot of times I got a chance to play the Grandmasters, and I would instantly play. I wouldn't say no, and of course I would have got crushed in a couple of moves, right?
Yeah.
But to me, that was so exciting, you know. Like, I think that's kind of a mindset anyone should have if they want to put themselves into becoming anything, you know, or just be good at anything. To just be completely a student of the game, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's how learning becomes fun, in my opinion, you know.
It's very interesting what we're talking about. I have a friend, and my friend knows me very well, and he said, make sure that you speak. How did he say? I have a tendency of putting too many ideas in one sentence, so I'm going to try to simplify the way I talk. The thing is that whatever you do in life, whatever you want to learn, the ego is the first thing that kills that learning process. So try to be honest with yourself. When you feel jealous, it's okay if you're jealous. You're human. Oh, I'm jealous of my friend. Oh, and then, you know, you go to him and you tell him, oh, your stuff is so good. And then behind his back, you're like, oh, I fucking hate him. He draws this and this. I've seen and I've been one of those people. I was a very jealous, and I talked behind people's back. And when I realized what I was doing, that's when I actually crushed my ego. And it was actually my partner that told me that I'm a jealous person, because I was jealous of one of my best friends. She was selling artwork much better than me, for example. And I started saying, like, why is she selling so much more? It's not like her things are better than mine. You see, the ego, the selfishness. And then my boyfriend was like, you're jealous of your friend. That's not very nice. What do you mean I'm jealous? I'm not jealous. Yes, you're jealous. You're jealous of your friend. No, I'm not. You don't understand. It has to do with the quality. And my boyfriend was like, okay, but I think you would have to look at what you're saying right now, because you're jealous. So yes, I think the ego, it is the killing of your passion. So be very careful on how honest you are with yourself when you feel all of this negativity. And if you do feel it, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm not saying accept what's happening, but try to analyze and understand that you're human and it's somewhat normal. But you will have to fight it in the end. You have to understand that this jealousy is because you know that you're shit and that you need to practice and be smart on how you practice, because it's not about overdoing it. It's about being smart on how you learn whatever you want to learn. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So going back to all of this learning process, yes, there's many factors that can that can make us fall over, tip over. There's the word.
Yeah. And going back to another going back to another subject that I actually wanted to ask you about as well is like, you kind of, mentioned and explained how you what was your story how you became an artist. But now I want to ask you, what led you to be interested in oil painting and like this traditional mediums, even though like, as you said, you were an avid video game player, so you were already like, you know, in contact with the entertainment industry. Were there any point of time that you were interested to become, I don't know, digital artist or go become a concept artist at like, I don't know, like some game company or working in that industry? But what led you into kind of like a fine art kind of direction, you know? So, and what led you to oil painting and the subjects you're doing right now? So what is the whole story about that kind of scenario?
Right. Let's see how I'm going to formulate this so I don't go too overboard again. When I started the Swedish Academy of Realist Art back then at Atelier Stockholm, I wanted to be a concept artist because I wanted to make money. I wanted to, you know, have a living. But when I started painting with oils, I think that was my thing. I was happy. I was enjoying it. And all the time when you start with something new, there's a certain authenticity to it. So I realized that I don't want to be a concept artist. I would want to paint with oils. I want to paint still lifes. I want to paint figurative paintings. And I was young, and with time, because I wasn't, you know, making a living, I started falling into the trap of, oh, maybe I need to be a concept artist because I need to make a living. So I went in circles quite a lot until I realized that fine art is my passion. I need to find a part-time job so I can actually keep going with oil paintings. So that was it. I just love the raw material. For me, when I paint digital, I don't really feel the color. There's something weird about it. It doesn't really click for me as it is when I mix the oil and I put them down on a canvas. It's more my thing. Yeah.
And here's kind of like an abstract question, but have you ever kind of thought about this idea that, I know this is a really weird question that I'm asking, I know, but have you sometimes, you know, take a step back during your days and just think about that, whoa, I'm able to see colors right now. What if I was color? I'm able to see colors right now, distinguish different spectrum of colors. How would I adapt if, for example, one day I become colorblinded? I know that's a very weird question, but to me personally, these type of questions go through my head a lot during the day. And like, for example, I'm like, all right, I can see right now. Well, what if I was kind of like, I don't know, couldn't see? What would I do then? Or I don't know, what if I was kind of like partially blind? How would that affect my life, you know, as an artist? And especially like, you know, that's a bit extreme that I said, but with color blindness, you know?
I can answer you that because my partner told me this. I remember being very depressed and I told him that, oh, if I don't paint anymore, my life is over. Listen, people that loves you doesn't love you because you paint. They love you because it's you. They love you because, you know, the mother loves their son or daughter unconditionally, right? Or how you say it in English. So if you become colorblind or you want to stop doing art, it's okay. People will still care for you. It's hard to explain, but I know someone, and they said that to me, that if they don't do art anymore, they will kill themselves. They had enough. They hate themselves. They can't live with it. And then I told them, you think your parents loves you because you paint and draw? You think the world will care if you stop painting all of a sudden? Maybe some people, but they will forget about you very fast. They will just look at your old stuff and they will just mind their life and keep going with it. So if I become colorblind or, God, I lose my vision or some shit, I will have to find ways to adapt. Life is precious, give or take. You know, we talked about something before the podcast. Yeah, that's my point on it. I know that if I stop painting, I know my mom will still love me. I know my dad will still love me. I know my friends will still care for me. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it actually reminded me of like something that I read a couple of years ago, that there was this farmer, I think in Cambodia, or Thailand, I don't know. that apparently a group of researchers went to some rural areas in those areas from, I think, America or someplace else to kind of research on depression, basically how people around those areas dealt with depression and mental stuff, or just life's biggest philosophies. And they gave them this story that there was this one farmer in their village, and while he was kind of doing his farming stuff on his land, a mine from, I think, previous wars got detonated in his field, and he lost his leg.
Jesus.
And apparently he got so depressed that he wanted to, just give it all up and stuff like that. And here's what happened. Then they decided to buy him a cow so he can become a dairy farmer. So with a peg leg on his leg, he had a new job. Sure, he couldn't farm like before, but he had a new job, a new purpose. And he could, milk the cow, make cheese and other stuff, and he was happy again. So I think, what I'm trying to say is, like, even with the terms of, like, losing vision or going colorblind, it's like, I mean, if you can find something else to keep yourself occupied, you can, keep going. But the problem is usually when a lot of us get depressed is that we lose that ability totally, I know that sounds really vague, but in a sense, and what I'm trying to get out of what I'm trying to say, so to anyone who's listening, if you have a depressed friend or you're self-depressed, trying to find another way to get some sort of momentum in life. That's what I'm trying to say, and that'll help things a lot. And do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, in 2016, I had like a severe catatonic depression. I couldn't move out of bed. It was pretty bad. I had to go to the shrink 2 times per week. And all of that happened. We don't fall in depression just because. There's certain factors that brings us to that point of depression. So what I got taught by my shrink is to analyze as objective, emotional I was, but I had to look as objective as I could to my situation, because we all have a tendency of victimizing ourselves, and it's very easy to do it. It's easy to go like, poor me. But God, this is such a tricky thing to talk about because I don't know how to put it in words. Humans have a way of adapting. We're very adaptable. I mean, look at where we are right now. And we have it very easy nowadays. We don't need to go outside in the snow to take a shit. We have a toilet. Oh my God. You don't have to go outside and get water, come in and make a fire to boil water to cook. You have a stove. So when you're depressed, just try to look around you and think that you're living like a king in comparison to people 150 years ago. You're living like a king. You have heating inside your apartment. Oh my God, that's amazing. You have light. So yes, looking at those things can really help as well. But Theo, I was molested. I know. There's certain degrees of, suffering in the world. But you need to find ways to... I have a friend and he told me that sometimes looking at someone else's suffering makes you more, we talked about that, humil. What was the word again?
Humility, yeah.
Yes. And a lot of people, I don't care about other people's suffering. It's about me. Again, the ego. When I was depressed, the best thing I could ever do is to listen to other people's story. I was so self-centered. I was always talking about me. But try to listen to other people. And heck, I still do that sometimes. I joke with a friend that, I always talk about myself. So then I have to go like, can you say something about you? Because I don't want to just talk about myself. But it is true. I think if you're depressed, don't just stay home. Call your closest friend. Even just talking randomly on the street with someone can be so helpful. If I guess you can be unlucky and you don't find that person today, but life is precious, man. And I've met people that has been through shit and hell. and they have a smile on their face and they're authentic. And heck, artists are the most depressed pricks on the planet, are creative people. Oh my God. I have a friend and she told me, whatever you do, don't date the creative people. They're so depressing. Oh God. Yeah, that's my take on depression.
All right. And all right, let's switch gears a bit for now. So
yeah, sorry.
No worries at all. Actually, I'm already loving this episode so much because, like, as I mentioned before we started, like, and to anyone who's listening, they know that the Kouryer podcast is not. I don't like it to be just like an interview of like technical questions and what is the best like advice on portfolio. Which, trust me, I do sometimes. If it's needed. But at the same time, I genuinely like there's this thing about me that is such an extroverted personality trait, that I can just go outside and find someone I don't even know and I want to know about their whole life.
Yeah, I've noticed when we started the podcast, you were very open. I tend to be like that as well, but I started closing myself in a little bit at the beginning so I can actually, like I said earlier, listen to the person before I start talking about me. So...
yeah,
and also this is my first interview, everyone. I'm very bad with this stuff, so I'm sorry if I go in circles.
No, you're doing great. No worries at all. And to me, I sometimes have this kind of like curiosity a lot and just find it fascinating, and especially, when it comes to like, creative people, that's even more exciting for me, like you could be someone who's making sculptures with spaghetti your whole life. I would still want to interview, like I just need to see some sort of like, creative juice flowing in that person. I'm like, that's a good subject for an interview,
Yeah.
And what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was going to the next section and question of the podcast, which is, who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Well, should I start with the first artist that I liked and what I like now?
Just anything that comes to your mind. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay. Giorgione, which was the teacher of Titian. And then, of course, Sorolla. I like Kouryer and Sargent because I love the impressionistic painters. The Boston School, for example, Benson, I really like a lot as well. I love the looseness. Even though sometimes I paint very tight, I can respect people that has a certain loose style to the way they paint, because I think a loose painting is way harder to design properly than a tight painting. So as soon as I see someone that knows how to design a brush stroke, for example, or they know how to simplify the visual information and keep me looking in one point, then I'm like, yeah, this guy, I like him a lot. I used to be very conservative and very elitist to what I think art should be, but I'm starting to like abstract art as well, more yes, abstract art. If it's done properly, I can really respect it. Of course, as a teacher, I know what to look for. To be honest, I don't know if I really have a favorite artist. I like even digital artists, for example. I'm very bad with names, but I inspire myself a lot from digital artists as well. Hey, 3D. I've seen some amazing 3D designs when it comes to caricature of the characters, for example. Amazing. Yeah. I can't really say who's my favorite like that anymore.
Yeah, I know. There's like so many hundreds of people. And the point of this question is kind of like put the guest on the spot. And sure, you don't really come up with a lot of names, but the names you come up with are the ones that are the actual answer, The names that you're unprepared for that come up to your head, that's the real answer, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know about Sargent, Zorn, and Kouryer and Sorolla. Those people, I keep repeating them. If my friend Wilhelm was here, he would make fun of me. But they were the ones that really stuck with me when I started school, because I didn't know them. It was like a different world. When I started school, it was a different world. Oh my God, all of these artists. Because when I was in Romania, we were taught about certain artists when it comes to art history. For some reason, the impressionistic painters, we have Monet, Degas, and all of those ones. But for example, I consider Sorolla an impressionistic painter, and they were never taught in art history. And this has to do with modernism. I don't know. It was some kind of weird hate or jealousy towards these people. Hell do I know? Because I remember asking my teachers at the point, how come they don't talk about these painters? Why are they so forgotten? I don't know. I really think it's jealousy. I truly think it's jealousy.
Yeah, there's a lot of like amazing art, but only like niche people in their industry or like field only knows them, you know? Like there was this amazing guy, I think American painter, artist, sketcher, who the only thing he did was trees. And it was so amazing. I forgot his name. And that's actually
Wolf Kant?
I don't know. And it's kind of ironic that now that I'm even explaining him, I don't remember his name, which is, it doesn't mean that the art is bad. It's just mean like, I'm an idiot, I guess. I don't know.
If you want to talk about the inequality and the unfairness of the world, you should watch something called Batman and Bill, a documentary about Batman and about the true creator of Batman. If you want to see a depressing story, that's the one you want to watch. There are many artists that gets fucked over pretty badly. The world is unfair, my dudes. That's one reason I said that if you stop doing art or something happens, that's, who are the true people that truly cares for you? It's not the whole world. It's your closest friends, which are maybe 4 best friends, and that's it. I don't believe in having too many best friends or whatever. It's impossible to keep track of everyone. Mostly the older you get.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing is, what area beside the area you're working in right now, which is of course in the realms of creativity and art and design and all that good stuff. Basically what I'm trying to ask, what other non-art related thing you have in your life? Like it could be a hobby, it could be a goal, or just anything. What other thing you have going on that is completely non-art related? Hobby or activity?
I love nature. So if I could go out and just sit on a rock and look and be, that's enough for me. And I'm trying to learn guitar, and I started woodworking. That's really fun. It really shows how stupid I am when it comes to problem solving. Woodworking, man, you should try it. It's really challenging. You do you know how to put those hinges on? Because it took me like 1 hour to understand how to put hinges on. So I think that's a hobby of mine. It's still creative though. Non-creative, it's going out in nature. Non-creative, detachment.
Like technically anything can be creative, but what I mostly meant like outside of visual arts, like, if we could say that. But
traveling, nature, music, being with people that, good inspirational people, my friends, playing video games. Hell yeah. So, yeah.
All right. And
I hate shopping. If I go shopping, I like going to technological shops because I like looking at geeky stuff. And then I like going to hardware stores and looking at screws and wood materials for some reason. I don't know why. It's fun.
Yeah. Like honestly, one of the things I sometimes do with my friends, there's a huge hardware store near our house. It's near a mall, and we just always go and take and just hold axes, like fire axes there, or just
you hold what?
Like little axes, fire axes for chopping wood or stuff. Yes.
Like an axe.
Yes.
Okay.
But of course, they're guarded in the store. You can't actually because some
don't
crazy
go full Valheim. The world is not Valheim.
Like, I really genuinely wish that we turn back time. So the world would be modern, but there would be no firearms. So we would still have to learn the skills of unarmed combat and stuff.
Be careful what you wish for.
I'm very careful, and I still would want that. Like it's like imagine it's gonna be so
You
fun.
won't have to shit outside in the dark, you know?
But if it means no firearm and you can actually live life as a wandering swordsman, I'll take that risk.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It sounds heroic.
Not heroic, fun.
Well,
Like-
heroic. What's the word
Like-
for it? Adventurous. I don't know.
Yeah. Like because
anyway.
I wouldn't consider myself a lawfully good person, or I'm kind of pretty chaotic, to be honest. Like if like in the D&D charts where you can choose your alignments, where do you actually see yourself?
Oh my God.
Lawful, evil, neutral, chaotic, good, whatever, what combination?
I think I'm the neutral chaotic type. I just like to
Same.
sit back and look and analyze.
I'm also really chaotic myself.
Very chaotic. I mean, the way I speak, I think people right now listening to this podcast have realized how chaotic I am. I can't keep a straight line when it comes to my ideas. I'm horrible at it. I'm still practicing though. Teaching helps. But yes, so you play role-playing games, huh?
Yep. I
Nice.
recently got into it really well. Like, of course, Baldur's Gate 3.
I haven't
played
played it yet. Oh, I'm waiting for the holiday. I'm waiting for the
Please
holiday.
do. Please do. Listen, I just wanted to play it so I can say I played. So, and of course, I didn't have enough space on my laptop, so I had to delete it fast. But
Yeah.
the run that I tried to rush through, I couldn't rush through it. I had to do anything I could, and it took me 70 hours.
Yeah.
And
I
that 70 hours was like 5 hours for me. That was so beautiful. That was literally the only 10 out of 10 game in my life that I've ever played. And basically I'm in love, as you can see the way I'm speaking. It was an amazing game out. And I'm not going to spoil literally anything for you, because you have to experience everything from the scratch for yourself.
No,
But
don't.
I really like, just do your first run solo. Then after you finish your run and finish the campaign, message me and we're going to make a group of 4 together and we're going to finish the campaign together.
Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't know you can play together.
You can do that.
I didn't know you can play Baldur's Gate 3 together, because I don't want any spoilers about this game. I just want to play.
You won't.
No
Yeah.
internet. What am I supposed to do here? Oh, no.
And also, please don't save scum. I know I did, but don't save scum. I know, because it takes out the joy of actually getting successful rolls. You know?
Yeah.
So no saves coming. Actually, think about your character very well in the beginning. Then you can further in the game, like change some like multi-class and stuff like that. But just you're gonna love it. Trust me. And with that being said,
I think you realize one thing, because at the beginning of because people listening to this, when it comes to interview, I'm always a bit dumb when it comes to talking about art and myself. I find it so boring. But as soon as I start talking about games and other people having the same kind of thing with me, I just get so into it. It's so much fun. Have you played Mass Effect?
No, actually, that's one thing that I've never played.
The first game is great. I love it.
Yeah, I never played any of the Mass Effect games, but when it comes to role-playing games, Skyrim, Fallout was a huge thing for me. Disco Elysium, if you haven't played it, you definitely should. It's an amazing role-playing game as well. Disco Elysium. Buy it. I don't care. Just go buy it. Save money.
You need to text me on Instagram about it, because I'm thinking of starting to play again Witcher, because I got to skilling it and then I stopped because life.
Yeah, I never played Witcher games as well. I know that's one of those things I've never played. I actually recently bought Red Dead Redemption 2 because it was on sale, but I can't find the time
to play. It's a good game. Good story.
I know. What I'm trying to play right now, and I'm playing, which I really love, is Sea of Stars. It's a really amazing chill indie game. Amazing, beautiful art, beautiful music. It's just meditation. It's not super complex and stuff like that, but it's a really beautiful game, Sea of Stars, and they actually won a lot of awards.
Art. Sorry for interrupting you. Animators and people working in the game industry. Of course, there's some. I don't know. I'm just going to be honest. Fuck it. All of this woke games and movies coming out that I can't stand. I mean, you can make something, let's say Mad Max Road Fury, for example. That's a very woke feminist movie, but it's really well written. It works. It's great. I'm not against it, but I'm tired of bad writing. But anyways, animators. Do you watch anime?
Yeah, from time to time, yeah.
Like, do you know Akira, Vampire Hunter D, Ghost in the Shell?
Oh, Ghost
You're
in the Shell,
missing
yeah.
out. You're missing out. Like
I
those
know. I have a
animators are
backlog of.
insane. Huh?
Yeah, I have a huge backlog of animes and movies I have to watch, and I still haven't got the time to do it.
If you want to watch a very good anime that's very psychological, Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is called.
I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Perfect
I think it's
Blue.
the same director. I might be wrong. That made Paprika.
Oh, I watched Paprika. Paprika was really like trippy for me. Yeah.
Dude, those people were high on something. I swear to God, when they did that animation. Oh God, it was insanely good. The soundtrack is amazing, and the director died so young. God damn it. I think he died of cancer when he was like 46 or 45. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. You know Kim Jong-gi, the artist that passed away?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about, if I stop doing art, I really respect his art, but I would have liked him to just be alive and don't draw anymore, just so he would be alive, because that man he was such a unique cookie, that's for sure. And it wasn't just his art that inspired me, it was his character that motivated him to do the things he was doing. He was just so into it. And I really want to be like him. What's the word for it? Consecutive, how do you say that?
Consecutive?
No, doing the same thing every day and being, Consistent. Thank you. Because I feel that the most important thing about being creative is being consistent with your, the structural pattern of creating. And that's something that he had. He was very consistent and kept developing. Even though at the point he was doing the same stuff all the time, you could see certain development in each drawing he was doing. And everybody was so obsessed about drawing from life, and everybody kept asking him how from life, from imagination. And he told them, just draw from references. How do you know how to draw an elephant if you've never drawn an elephant before? It's very interesting. The art community has lost someone very dear. Such a human.
Yeah.
I actually cried. I've never met him. And I remember my friend calling me and telling me that Kim Jong-gi just died. And I started laughing. I was like, get out of here. What? No, he died. And I started crying a bit just because there was so connection to him as a person, not just his art. That's what I mean. It's not the art. It's you as a human. I have people that loves my work, but they started liking my work because they got to know me as well. It's very interesting how people connect with you more than your artwork. They get to know you, and then they understand why you're painting and doing the things you're doing. So yes, being an introvert and an artist, try to be a bit more extroverted. You need to show yourself. Like if it was for me, I would just disappear from social media. It's such an energy drain for me, but I know it's important to make myself seen. Again, the narcissistic artist that we need to be seen because we're depending on your normal salary. I can tell you that. So yes, that's another thing. You need to learn how to sell your soul without selling your soul. That's hard.
Or you could just see and use Instagram as just a journaling tool. Then the pressure of social media is gone.
Well, don't get me started with the algorithm. That's not really working very well right now for new artists. It's really hard for them to get noticed.
Yeah, the only way to get noticed is post reels on Instagram, YouTube, and just TikTok. That's it. Just short video format. That's it. Or make 2-hour long essay video, those long essays on YouTube that suddenly makes a channel pop out of nowhere and get 20,000 subscribers. Like, I really love those videos as well sometimes. And
I do have to admit, I would like to go back to the traditional galleries. I know that some galleries takes like 50%, talking about if you sell a painting. Yeah, let me tell you very fast. If you sell a painting through a gallery, the commission is usually 50%. So if you sell something for $4,000, you get $2,000 and then they get $2,000. I think this commission is a bit ridiculous. And a lot of artists, they say, oh, you can just sell yourself online. But now with the algorithm, if you're starting off, it can become very hard for you to be noticed. You have the bad dogs, the big dogs, not the bad dogs, that the 1% that are already known before the algorithm. So right now there's a little bit of a problem when it comes to marketing yourself as a new coming artist. You need to post every day on Instagram. And we were talking about quality over quantity. What are we doing right now? So I'm trying to figure out how to help my students, for example, or emerging artists to make themselves seen. And I really think that the gallery should be an option again. But then again, people have become so stuck at home after COVID. People don't really go out. Everybody's just ordering everything at home. So people are not really going out anymore. And in my opinion, seeing a painting in real life is such a huge difference than seeing it in a picture. Go to museums, go out. Stop getting stuck in your apartment, goddammit. That's how I see it.
Speaking of ordering things online, there's a link down in the description of the prints you can actually order from our today's guest. So if you want to get your special someone this Christmas, like a really nice gift, there's some limited edition prints you can buy. And there's also, I'm actually such a good marketer. Look how I transitioned into just trying to advertise your stuff from that to there. Good job, me. And yeah, but basically, long story short, there's a link to prints. If you want to support artists, of course, you can go do that. There's limited prints and normal prints. Their links are down below. I'm not going to just waste more time, explaining. So go ahead and give it a check, or send to your friends if they want to buy something. So yeah, that's about it. And with that being said, we've reached the final section and question of the podcast, which is basically the time capsule section. So basically, all right, here's what I want from you. So imagine this podcast, as I mentioned before we started recording, is going to be a time capsule at some point. And this is a window of time that you have right now to say anything that you want to say to anyone who's listening to this podcast at any point of time in the future. Basically, if you could distill and summarize the most important and valuable lessons you've learned in life to anyone who, from yourself, a human being, to any other human being who might listen to this podcast at any point of time, what would those lessons be? What do you have to say?
God. Trying to formulate this in my head. I'm just saying that all of this development right now, this technological development, I think the future is going to become very boring, to be honest. Don't lose your humanity and don't get too dependent on technology. Try to be human. We're organic. We're supposed to feel. We're supposed to do things with our hands, not just sit in one place on our mobile all the time. We're becoming too dependent on these tools. They're very good, don't get me wrong, they're amazing. I'm benefiting a lot from it. Heck, I'm in Sweden and Ramtin is in Turkey, we're communicating. But try to also live. Don't falsify your life too much. And I feel like the future is gonna be pretty harsh for humanity because I can see it in younger kids. That's the only thing they know. All of their friends are on that stupid mobile. And there's more kids getting depressed as well, which is horrible. Yeah. That's my thought on it.
All right. And yeah, that's actually a great note to end this episode on, with everything we said thus far. And well, thank you so much for taking out your time on the lovely castle you're in right now to have a conversation with us. And I'm not saying this, of course, I say this to every guest that I enjoyed, that's a part of it, but I actually genuinely enjoy this conversation. So thank you so much for your time.
The same. Thank you.
And thank you to anyone who tuned in that listened to this episode. I'm sorry if the format is a bit different and there were hiccups along the way. And yeah, I'll try to find a better way to record podcasts soon because yeah, as I mentioned before, the Zencastr is not a paid subscription. So yeah, I kind of got screwed over like that. And yeah, again, thank you to anyone who tuned in to listen. Again, and thanks so much for coming by. As always, if there was any suggestions or comments, you can write them down below or just send it to me on the Instagram page of the podcast. And that's about it. Take care, everyone. Stay safe until the next episode, which I'm actually going to record in 90 minutes. Bye-bye.